Steelers in the 3rd round. 4th round, Cade Klubnik goes to the Jets. We'll stop there for right now. I know you like the one of Garrett Nussmeier to the Chiefs in the 7th round, mainly for him more so than them because he's going to get the development under Reed, obviously Bieniemy, and of course Mahomes. But if I told you one of these quarterbacks had the best chance to start this season, and it's not Mendoza, which one is it?
I think you'd probably say Carson Beck.
You're saying it with a question mark.
Well, like we talked about last week, whether it was going to be Ty Simpson or another quarterback, and the other quarterback is the way that this thing is played out because nobody saw the Ty Simpson thing coming, that Jacoby Brissett was more valuable to the Arizona Cardinals with a rookie quarterback that they would draft than just being there without that. So I do think that it would be, of all of the ones that you've pointed out here, and you mentioned Drew Aller to Pittsburgh too, right?
Yeah. I mean, if there's another one, there's other quarterbacks that were drafted. There's another one. Throw it out there. Go ahead.
No, I mean, Carson Beck's the obvious answer here because they have a runway that they can start to work their way down this year. They don't have to, like, it would be malpractice to have him start week 1 when you've got a seasoned vet who's a journeyman quarterback who's played a lot of different places, who's smart, who can take this thing as far as you can take it with Mike LaFleur in this offense. And then I'd say at some point, maybe call it 4 or 5 games this year. That's how many starts I think we'll get from Carson Beck. Because they got to figure it out before next year to figure out if they're drafting a quarterback with this talent-rich 2027 class, what they have in their guy that they got this year.
Yeah, and we have to be careful about that. I'm glad you said it that way. We thought this year was a talent-rich quarterback draft before the season, right? I mean, if you look at some of the guys that were supposed to be really high up, Nussmeier was looked at as number 1 through 10, let's just say, right? You're looking at Cade Klubnik, same thing. Clemson goes to the Jets in the 4th round. Drew Aller 2 years ago, we would have thought, or a year and a half ago, whatever it was, oh my God, if he comes out, he could be a top 5 pick to the Giants in last year's draft. We thought that. And then, so the guys who were taken in the 1st round were not even thought to be close to the 1st round going into this season with Mendoza and Simpson. So we could sit here and say Arch is going to be amazing. And C.J. Carr from Notre Dame, if he comes out, is going to be amazing. And Dante Moore from Oregon, who looked, I thought, pretty poor in the playoff. Great. He has a lot of development, and I hope he's great. But we can't just assume that, to your point. So while I think Arizona blindly will take a quarterback in next year's draft, they do have to see if Carson Beck could be the guy. The only thing that I got right in this year's draft definitively that I didn't waver on was I thought whoever was going to be drafted in the 3rd round by Arizona, I said there was no question in my mind they would use that first pick in the 3rd round on a quarterback. That guy had a chance to start a lot of games. Problem is they drafted a quarterback that I don't think is as great as they do in Carson Beck.
Who would you have gone with instead of Beck?
I probably would have gone with Aller. Is where I would have gone. I'm not a huge Carson Beck guy, but you know what? He led them to a championship game this year. He stayed poised when they lost those 2 games early on. Then they go on that big winning streak. They get to the championship game, obviously, against your Indiana squad and lose. But Carson Beck did a great job in carrying, I don't want to say carrying, in carrying himself with poise and composure where you're like, okay, maybe he has matured since some of the early days. But I don't think Mendoza should start as many games as other people should think. I think that Kirk Cousins should be the starter with the Raiders. Obviously, Simpson's not going to play for years, which I love for him. Aller's not going to play. Klubnik's interesting.
It's a similar situation to Arizona with the Jets. Not a good team, bridge quarterback that knows the system, knows the organization, won't be there for long. But are you really in a position, if you're the New York Jets, where you feel you absolutely have to play him this year? I don't think so.
No, but it's the Jets, which means that the fans could complain and they want to see him, etc. But I think that Carson Beck has a legit shot to be the starting quarterback for Arizona for more than 4 or 5 games.
So when do you think the switch happens? Because they'll work something out with Jacoby Brissett. They'll get the contract, right? Because, again, they cannot afford to screw this up.
Wait, dumb question then on that. Sorry to interrupt, but dumb question. I love Jacoby Brissett as a mentor. I've literally covered this young man since he was in high school, at Dwyer High School in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. He was class act then, at whatever it was, 16 years old. I remember him walking around at these 7-on-7s with everybody just hovering over him because he was that much of a leader then. Basketball player too. Why do they have to bring him back? Just play this out. They have Gardner Minshew.
Sure.
And they have Carson Beck. Everyone, I got texts on Friday or Saturday, I don't remember which one it was, telling me Arizona was trying to move up to get him. that people thought Arizona was so hot on Carson Beck, they were trying to move up. If they think Carson Beck is the real deal for them, just make him the backup right off the bat. Trade Jacoby Brissett somewhere. See if you can get a mid to late round pick next year. Why do they have to have that? Why is Carson Beck your third string guy?
Well, I mean, I think there's the reason for this. Number one, when they had the second round pick at 34, like you're saying, like if Carson Beck was such a can't miss guy, why didn't they take him there?
That's fair.
That'd be an overdraft. So he wasn't a can't miss guy. The reason that Jacoby Brissett is valuable to them right now is he's 33 years old. He knows his role. He's a journeyman quarterback who's going to have an opportunity to get a new deal, however they want to work it out, and start a bunch of games this year until they're ready to have a young quarterback test the waters. I don't think that you throw him into the mix before he's ready, but it's not to say that they don't already believe there's a path of some success for him. He's a third-round pick. There's a big question mark there. If you're a can't-miss prospect, you don't go in the third round. So the benefit for him being in this place where Jacoby Brissett is, and then there's Gardner Minshew, is you have experience from two guys who have bounced around the league a lot that you hope, as a rookie, he will be able to pick up what he can from them, to apply it to his game, to learn how to study, learn the position, without feeling the pressure of having the entire offense on your shoulders right away. I don't think it's a bad fit for him. I just don't think they're going to be a good team to where you're truly going to get an evaluation on whether he's the right guy or not moving forward. You're right. They will draft a quarterback in 27. They have to. They have to. Because
Even if he's good, they'll draft a quarterback.
And that's a smart thing to do. Because if you're in the top 10 and you have questions on the guy, that's going to be the no-brainer scenario path that they have to go down.
Let me ask you one quick follow-up, though, because you're uniquely qualified to answer the question that I'm going to ask you, because your day job is covering the Chicago Bears. We're sitting there in the green room today. Hair and makeup, thank you to them. They came in early for us, which we appreciated here in Bristol, Connecticut. And after Courtney did the name drop of Michael Wilbon texting me, no big deal. She then said, I really like Garrett Nussmeier to Kansas City, LSU quarterback. We know you like it for him. Mahomes could be out a couple of games early. You covered Justin Fields. Could he beat Justin Fields out?
I think that's absolutely possible.
So if Garrett Nussmeier starts game one for the Kansas City Chiefs this year, you would not be surprised.
No. Justin Fields is what he is at this point of his career. It's no knock on him, but the league has told us how they feel about him, that he's a backup quarterback with a ceiling. Garrett Nussmeier, when healthy, is still an unknown. Back in 2024, the reason that he was projected to be such a high draft pick at one point is because he put up those incredible numbers and that awesome offense at LSU upon taking over for Jaden Daniels, and we thought the sky was the limit for him. If this shoulder injury can become a thing of the past where his team isn't worried about it now. I mean, clearly all the other teams were worried about it to a point where he fell all the way to 249. But I think that it's a great path for him to be in a place like Kansas City, not just from like the pedigree standpoint that you learn offense and how to play it in the NFL from the greatest quarterback playing and one of the greatest coaches coaching, but you have a better runway to getting onto the field as a backup for however long. And we don't know if Mahomes is going to be out week one or what the status is, but I think it's probably the best landing spot of any of the non-first round quarterbacks, of guys that will have a chance to not just develop, but also a realistic shot to start.
So basically,
because I don't think the Cardinals are going to develop, just to be clear about that, I don't think the Cardinals are going to develop Carson Beck well. We have no
of course not.
It's
Cardinals.
We have no institutional knowledge of knowing that.
But what you just said is an amazing thing. Two quarterbacks, based on what you said, have a chance to start week one in the NFL this season as rookies. Mendoza and Nussmeier. Those are the two.
Assuming Patrick Mahomes, if that is the case, that he's not ready.
Yeah. Right. I didn't think they were going to start over Mahomes.
Just saying, we don't have any clue about his injury
I don't know that anyone thought that Courtney said that.
QB controversy.
Yeah.
Nussmeier, Mahomes.
That's actually an amazing take. Two rookie QBs have a chance to start week one. Mendoza and Nussmeier. Coming up, could the biggest loser actually be the